From today, we begin to study more practical issues. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about one group of foods, and not just food. You should know that all plants, and in general, everything that exists on this earth and in this universe, is divided into three major qualities. Something is in the mode of goodness, something is in the mode of passion, and something is in the mode of degradation. Qualities in pure goodness. Does everyone know the qualities in pure goodness? Now I'm going to list the qualities of pure goodness for you. These are harmony, beauty, purity, simplicity, quickness, clarity, optimism, activity, honesty, kindness, knowledge, pure love, and so on. There are quite a lot of such qualities. Now passion. Qualities of passion are tension, anxiety, restlessness, attachment to results, passion. All qualities associated with the absence of calmness, love, and understanding of how to do the right things are related to passion. The main sign of action in passion is when a person becomes attached to the result. They want to get a result from what they're doing. The same we can say about plants and animals. They can have predominant qualities of passion, pure goodness, or degradation. The qualities of degradation are drowsiness, sluggishness, dullness, illiteracy, aimlessness, perverted taste, hatred, greed, debauchery, cruelty, anger, rudeness. These are the qualities of degradation. Depending on what we come in contact with in our lives, we get different results. Either it is pure goodness, passion, or degradation. If we come in contact with pure goodness only, we gain happiness, wealth, success, fame, beauty, and knowledge. These qualities are the qualities of pure goodness. That means that a person who lacks pure goodness cannot have long-term success, long-term beauty, or long-term wealth. They cannot have knowledge for a long time because they waste it. They cannot have fame for a long time, only for a short time. Therefore, these are the qualities of those people who are in the mode of pure goodness. If we come into contact with passion, then we will constantly have tension, nervousness, our happiness will be short-lived, and our suffering will be long-lasting. We will constantly have financial problems. It is possible that you will gain wealth, but it will quickly disappear. Fame also appears and disappears. All the qualities I listed in passion appear and disappear. Overall, life in passion is very restless. The reason for this is the desire for results. To earn as much money as possible, to have as much as you can have in this life, this is passion. Now, degradation. The result of degradation is the absence of success, absence of beauty, absence of happiness, absence of pure goodness, absence of knowledge, only suffering, no joy at all. Everything in this world is divided into these three categories. Not many people know what exactly falls into one category or another. Now I am going to prove this to you very simply, so you will completely understand. What is the most pure goodness product on earth? Why is it in pure goodness then? Can one drink milk or not? You don't know anything. So milk is a very important thing in our life. Milk is in pure goodness and possesses the strongest qualities of pure goodness among all food products that exist on earth. Therefore, holy people who achieved self-realization consumed only milk throughout their lives. They were no longer eating anything else. Moreover, only one type of milk is in the highest pure goodness. It's cow's milk. For a child, mother's milk is also in pure goodness. All other types of milk carry inherent goodness, but they do not embody absolute purity. Their goodness is influenced by the characteristics of the animals from which the milk is sourced. For instance, goat's milk reflects the qualities of goats, while camel milk carries the traits of camels. Buffalo milk is similarly influenced by buffalo characteristics. Thus, the nature of the animal plays a significant role, as each animal has its own unique character. The buffalo, for example, is often seen as being in a state of degradation, whereas the goat is considered to embody passion. When we consume these milks, we inadvertently adopt some of the qualities of these animals. Now, regarding cow's milk, who can tell me what the cow's qualities are? It is regarded as pure goodness. Cow's pure goodness is so profound that it is believed that happiness and prosperity can flourish on earth when both cows and holy people are present. The presence of numerous cows and holy people is thought to usher in a golden age. Let me elaborate further. So the cow, it has 5 products that have been used very widely in our lives since ancient times. This was used very widely. Now it is forgotten. All these products have an absolute power of influence on a person. That means that in their own way, no one can surpass them, not a single product, including in medicine, including treatment and impact on our body. And these 5 products, they all relate to different types of effects on the body. and they are all the strongest of their kind. For example, milk. This is a product that affects the subtle energy body of human intelligence, the Vijnana Maya Kosha, the sheath of intelligence. A person who drinks milk increases their subtle energy body of intelligence. It simply grows in this person who drinks milk, and such a person becomes intelligent. You know that people can be intelligent, that is, with a lot of intelligence, and unintelligent, with little intelligence. Moreover, an unintelligent person can possess a lot of cleverness. They can think a great deal, list everything and say, the crayfish were very large, but they cost 5 rubles, the small ones were 3 rubles. They can repeat this all day long. Or they might say, Vasya is bad, and they keep listing reasons. There's a lot of cleverness but little intelligence. If a person has a lot of intelligence, they don't list things. They simply draw conclusions. They speak while the other person lists. One observes everything and has their own viewpoints on everything. These views of a very intelligent person are based on true knowledge. They seek true knowledge and find it. They know how to find it. They understand how to do everything correctly. The life of such a person exists in a state of goodness and happiness. Therefore, every intelligent person should strive to increase the amount of intelligence in their body. The sheath of intelligence should be substantial. What needs to be done for this? Drink milk and study scriptures. These are the 2 things that enhance human intelligence. When a person studies the scriptures, how does their intelligence increase? By the grace of God. God is satisfied and He increases human intelligence. This happens in a mystical, incomprehensible way to us. Thus, such a person purifies themselves, cleansing their existence. Consequently, they become more intelligent and purer. Milk, on the other hand, acts directly on the sheath of intelligence, merely increasing its quantity. Specifically, cow's milk, no other type has this effect. Other milks do not possess this capability. Therefore, when a person drinks milk, they gradually become more intelligent. They begin to think better and understand everything more clearly. In Ayurveda, an entire page in the Karaka Samhita lists, word for word, the diseases that can be alleviated by drinking milk. For example, it promotes longevity, improves memory, and so on. Everything one could wish for. I don't even want to list them all. There are likely all the diseases that exist. The main groups of diseases are detailed there. But why can't we achieve these benefits? Despite some attempts to drink milk, many people cannot digest it. What is the problem? The issue lies in a lack of knowledge. We don't know how to approach it properly. In reality, it turns out that the very quality of milk being hard to digest is a significant advantage compared to other foods. What kind of advantage can there be if a product is poorly digested? What sort of advantage is this? A person can only drink milk early in the morning and late in the evening. At other times, it simply disrupts digestion. However, when a person drinks sweetened milk in the evening, not overly sweet, just sweetened, an interesting phenomenon occurs. Milk digests very slowly in the stomach and intestines. It reflexively affects the brain, altering its activity. Interestingly, at that time, when a person goes to sleep, all bodily functions turn off, leaving only the mind and intelligence actively working. Mainly, the mind operates. At this moment, the mind connects with the stomach and finds milk there. It amplifies the influence of intelligence on the body because milk possesses the pure power to enhance intelligence. When a person sleeps, bad dreams vanish immediately, bringing about calmness. Calmness breeds faith in happiness. A person becomes happier if they drink milk. They feel more at ease. Many diseases disappear as the brain comes into balance and harmony. All diseases associated with mental disorders gradually diminish, and such a person feels increasingly better. If at the same time they follow the correct routine, goes to bed on time, does everything on time. So, it's best to drink milk from about 7 to 8:30 in the evening, somewhere around that time. And after that, you shouldn't eat anything else after milk. How much milk to drink? This should be calculated individually. To do this, drink a glass of milk, and in the morning check. If you notice mucus in your mouth, nose, or eyes, it means you drank too much milk. Alternatively, if your tongue has turned white, or if you feel heavy getting out of bed, that's a sign as well. If you wake up and feel normal, it indicates you are drinking a sufficient amount of milk. In the end, it all gets digested. Because after a certain time, if undigested milk remains, it starts to be absorbed in an undigested form in the body, leading to toxicity. Therefore, it's best to determine how much milk you need to drink. In general, the digestibility of milk gradually increases, and with it, a person's goodness also grows. If a person is in a state of passion, they can hardly digest milk at all. In contrast, a person in a state of goodness digests milk very well. This way, you can check which guna you are in, what qualities you possess. You can drink milk in the evening. If you feel you cannot digest it at all, you are in a state of passion. If you can digest it, then you are in goodness. At least you have some goodness in your body, and your reserves are strong. If you drank a lot, you should reduce the amount. If you feel restless at night, it means you reduced it too much. This way you can adjust the amount of milk consumed before bedtime. If a person feels tense in the morning, they should drink hot milk with sugar until 7 o'clock. You can add 3 spices in the evening: turmeric, fennel, or cardamom. These spices are the most beneficial to add. In the morning, you can add fennel, cardamom, or saffron. Sugar should be added in small amounts. Honey should only be added if it suits you. How to determine this will be discussed later. All questions will come afterward. Cardamom, fennel, and turmeric should be added to your taste. Moving on, the milk must be heated, but it should not burn the tongue. Milk should be brought to a boil, but it should not actually boil. Bring it to a boil and then remove it. There are forces that fight for divine knowledge in the universe and forces that fight for the prosperity of demonic culture. Currently, the influence of demonic culture predominates on Earth. How does this manifest? Knowledge is cultivated on how to enjoy rather than how to serve one another. This includes knowledge on how to get rich, how to enjoy the opposite sex, how to commit violence, and so on. These influences come from lower planets, ones lower than ours. The UFOs that arrive are living beings from these lower planets. There exists a layer of lower planets where civilization is very advanced, a technocratic civilization. They have many high-level machines, but virtually no spirituality, even less than we do. The influence occurs on the subtle level, and the strongest point of application this influence is what? Television. The majority of the influence comes through television and the media. People working in the media must be very vigilant about what to show the public and what not to, otherwise they will face problems with their fate. Divine culture, on the other hand, brings people real knowledge, how to be healthy, happy, beautiful, and how to achieve real success that would not harm the future of our lives. There are main points of application for divine and demonic culture. One point is the attitude towards the opposite sex. How you correctly relate to the opposite sex determines which culture you belong to, divine or demonic. Your attitude towards knowledge, what knowledge is and what ignorance is. What is our duty regarding knowledge of ourselves? These are the main points of application, whether God exists. Also, what relates to our daily life, what we need to eat, and so on. We must understand that in these matters we should be well informed, knowing the truth about how to act correctly, otherwise we will fall under bad influence. The cow and milk are one of the main links in these disputes. Even at the dawn of the universe there was a struggle over milk and cows between demigods and demons. All demigods and the Supreme Personality of God greatly protect the cow. They exist with immense power within her body. The cow is a stronghold of divine culture. This is very difficult for us to understand. Our earth is a personality, and it takes the form of a cow when it stands before the gods and demigods. It presents itself in the form of a cow. This is a personality it assumes. Regarding milk, on one of the higher planets, the Supreme Personality of God lies in an ocean of milk. There is a planet called Shvetadvipa, which is very high, at the highest level of planets, and on it lies the Supreme Personality of God in an ocean of milk. The ocean is made of milk. It is not the milk of our cows. It is a different milk with a subtle nature. Milk is quite an extraordinary thing, which is why it is used to nourish infants, giving them strength for life. The cow is considered the mother of humanity. She did not appear on earth by chance. She came to provide us with the strength of health and prosperity. Those who drink milk gain these qualities. For those who do not, it is more challenging. Demonic culture attacks the possibility of using milk in various ways. For example, when demonic culture began to rise, the first thing they did was kill more cows and use them for food. Now it has reached the point where demonic culture is trying to instill in us that milk is a harmful product. In many books that are under demonic influence, they write that all dairy products are harmful, even kefir and cheese. Who has read such literature? Raise your hand. There is literature that says that all dairy products are harmful. Absolutely everything dairy products simply cannot be eaten. Listen to this lecture to see what happens if you deprive yourself of these products. If you deprive yourself of milk, you naturally lose the ability to gain intelligence. For a person who does not drink milk, it is very difficult to cultivate intelligence. There are also milk products, 5 main ones: milk, clarified butter, called ghee, kefir, or yogurt, which are essentially the same, cow urine, and cow manure. These 5 products have a tremendous influence on a person. In the past, sages gathered around a fire, and while chanting specific mantras, they poured clarified butter into the fire in a certain way, and all the ingredients from the cow participated in this ritual. These rituals brought tremendous results. The mantras were so powerful that sages could achieve many outcomes. In fact, they controlled everything that happened on earth. This was a long time ago, around 5,000 years or more. Now we've lost this knowledge of how to do it. The 5 cow products were the essential ingredients to perform such rituals. Because they are absolutely pure, there is no impurity in them. If you say that waste is the dirtiest thing, cow manure doesn't fall under this. It is the only waste that has absolutely no impurity. It's very hard to understand. Now, I will explain and you will get it. The next cow product is yogurt or kefir and all its derivatives. Yogurt gives a person strength. It is closer to passion, but not the kind of passion that leads to destruction. This is a creative passion. Essentially, everything in this universe was created, and for creation you need creative strength. This is also passion, but closer to pure goodness. This creative strength, this creative passion, is present in yogurt or kefir. A person gains strength in their body, both physical and mental. In fact, all kinds of strength come into the body when one consumes fermented dairy products. Different seasons require different foods. For example, kefir is more suitable for people in the summer when it's warm. Sour cream and cottage cheese are more suited for the winter. Cheese is a product that gives a person physical strength. If someone is physically weakened, cheese gives more strength than any other product. And every person at lunch should definitely add a little kefir to their cooked food. Soups, vegetable dishes, and salads can be prepared with kefir. And cheese can be added almost everywhere, except in salads. You can add it to soups, porridges, and vegetable dishes. You always wonder, where will I get strength if I don't eat meat? There are 2 types of products that give strength. Cheese and meat. Meat gives a person the strength of a predator, and no one benefits from that kind of strength. This strength is directed towards self-defense and the destruction of others around. In general, it looks something like this. I win, but you lose. Those who eat meat have this kind of character. Therefore, it's hard for them to even understand that 2 people can win at the same time, or that everyone can be satisfied. If they say something to you and you agree, they consider themselves the winner, and you think, why did I even agree with them? But if they say something to you and you don't agree, they start arguing with you. Basically, they want to be the winner. If you present strong arguments, they think, this person wants to defeat me, and I don't want anything to do with them. It's practically impossible to have a relationship with such people. That's why there are so many conflicts and scandals between people nowadays, in this age, because everyone eats meat in large amounts, and the power of egoism is immense. This strength is physical, mental, and intellectual. Those who gain more strength from cheese are very easygoing and calm, and you can resolve all issues with them. Their internal quality is that you win, they win, you feel good, and they also feel good. It's mutual. All of this comes from the subtle structure of these foods. You need to understand their nature. We need to study this world in order to be happy. That's why we should observe those who don't eat meat and those who do, and see the difference. We need to study how they behave, and only then can we draw any conclusions. Everyone should absolutely take this up. It's important to do this not from the standpoint of one's false ego. If I eat it, it means it's right. That's the position of false ego. And what does the position of false ego lead to? Suffering. A person suffers. Therefore, what's right is what's true. We just need to study. We need to observe how different people behave, what qualities they have. Only then can we succeed in life. If we stand by the idea that what I do is right and nothing else concerns me, it means I win, everyone else loses. I'm right because I'm right. That's why we need to study so that constructive decisions can form in our minds. Cheese gives strength. Any illnesses related to muscle structure issues, varicose veins, if a person eats cheese regularly, all of these conditions improve. Sometimes there's a lack of mental strength when a person feels restless. In those cases, foods like cheese, cottage cheese, and kefir restore these qualities in a person. However, kefir sometimes cools the body in winter and lowers digestive fire, so it's better not to mix it too much with lunch during the winter. But in the morning, you can mix kefir with ghee, sour cream, cottage cheese, sugar, or honey and eat it. You will feel great. If you only drink kefir in the morning when it's already getting cold, you might feel the need to go to the bathroom, or your stomach might start to twist. That means this product isn't suitable for the time or place. The secondary product gives the strength that allows one to achieve happiness in life. It gives normal strength, not the kind that makes you think of doing something bad, but the kind that creates normal, healthy thoughts. You need to understand this. It's hard now to grasp that this all comes from the subtle nature of the product. All herbs also have a subtle nature. That's why herbs have different characteristics. You ask, why can't I drink coffee? It energizes me. Yes, it energizes you, but it also increases aggression in a person. That's its nature. Coffee is a plant that grows quite aggressively. Nothing grows well around it. Coffee and cocoa are plants with a rather aggressive nature. And that's why the body enters into conflict with this product, and we get all worked up. We get worked up from war, not from peace, not from positive energy, but from negative. That's why this agitation leads to a worldview where everything must be done through force. For example, if I'm explaining something to someone, and I'm under the influence of the negative energy of coffee or meat, I'm already in the defensive mode. I think that people don't want to listen to me. I start pushing them, pressuring them. And then everyone gets into that same defensive mode, so communication becomes impossible. But if you stop consuming these products over time, gradually, month by month, that state leaves a person, and they gain the quality of pure goodness. Next is cow butter ghee. It has the quality of fire, and its fire is very joyous. Ghee warms you up, gives fire. So for those who feel cold in the winter, what's the best way to warm up? Some of you say external use, while others say inside. Which way do you prefer more? Which method is more beneficial, more economical, outward or inward? Inward? No, you're mistaken. The most economical way is outward. I used to practice this method of treatment called phytoreflexotherapy, when herbs are applied to specific areas. Where you now wear stones, I used to apply dry herbs. It's a very powerful treatment. The herb doesn't spoil for a long time. It affects the body for 10 hours. It's the same as if you took it internally, but you need to choose the proportions accurately. This is a very serious science. If you apply clarified butter made from cow milk above the forearm and to your legs before going to bed, you'll immediately feel warmth. You'll become warmer. You should rub it in so that only the smell remains. This is very economical. It takes a quarter or half a teaspoon for hands and feet. The clarified butter will work all night. It will warm you all night. Internal heat gradually accumulates in the body. A person who suffers from such diseases as joint pain, polyarthritis, spine problems, frequent colds, low blood pressure, digestive disorders, diseases associated with cold, all these diseases go away just as a result of you applying clarified butter to your arms and feet at night before bed. It's a very simple and effective method. Using some other oils is a very complex science. It's hard to find an oil which suits. There are many different types of oils. In India, it's a whole industry that produces various oils. Those who use clarified butter never make a mistake, because it suits everyone. I've checked this very well. I studied this and saw that there are no contraindications to using clarified butter. If a person can't add butter to their food because of a diseased liver, by adding clarified butter, the liver will recover. You just need to add it at the right time and eat at the right time. If you do not eat at the right time, it will be worse. Just as cow's milk and kefir should not be eaten at the wrong time, food containing butter should be eaten from 10 in the morning until 6 in the evening. At other times, you shouldn't eat such food. In winter, you can add butter to sweet dishes in the morning. It will warm you up. There is a large group of medicines made in India based on clarified butter. These medicines have enormous healing power. If you want to increase the potency of herbs, you can simply mix powdered herb with clarified butter, and you'll immediately get a mixture with enormous power. You should mix in such proportions: 1 part butter and 1 part herb, or 2 parts butter and 1 part herb. You can make ointments in the same way. If you want to make an ointment for the herb to act on the skin, clarified butter with herbs. You'll get the most perfect ointment. No need to invent anything. Everything that is in pure goodness doesn't require special expenses. It only requires knowledge. There are plants that are in pure goodness, and there is clarified butter that is in pure goodness. If you mix all this, you'll get an ointment that is in pure goodness. It's very simple. These ointments have enormous power. For example, if you have allergies, you mix burr marigold, which works quite well for allergies, burr marigold, birch bark, ginger, black pepper. If you mix this, allergies will be treated very well. The butter should be stirred over low heat. Wait until the white components remain in the bottom, then pour off. On top, you get amber-colored clarified butter. Do it on low heat so that the butter in the bottom doesn't burn. If you feel that your body temperature has increased, you shouldn't apply clarified butter. If the temperature has decreased or you feel chills, then you can apply it. In summer, when it's very hot, you can apply clarified butter at night only if you first apply fresh cow manure. The same areas, hands, feet. First apply fresh or dried cow manure, and then use clarified butter. Later you'll learn why. Manure cools, and clarified butter warms. It's better to cook food with clarified butter. Clarified butter never spoils food and never decomposes. All vegetable oils have a bad effect on the liver. When you cook with them, free radicals attach very quickly and undesirable changes occur. You can fry with cow butter only once. You can't use it for frying a second time because it loses its good qualities. In all cases related to joint pain, low blood pressure, hypothermia, you can safely apply clarified butter to your hands and feet. Taking into account your living conditions, you can do this every day, basically starting from this weather. A person gradually feels better, sleep improves, calmness sets in, pain in joints, lower back, and back goes away. Pain from hypothermia and various inflammatory diseases also decrease. I recommend everyone to do this except for people who have severely high blood pressure. Such people shouldn't do this. You should understand that there are different types of cleansing. When we drink milk, we cleanse our intelligence. When we apply clarified butter to our body, we cleanse the mind. The mind has a fiery nature and becomes purer. Then the senses don't want something bad. The senses calm down. If the senses are restless, if a person is overwhelmed with anxiety, you need to apply clarified butter at night. It gives calmness. If you drink kefir, it cleanses us from weakness and laziness. And when we drink cow's urine, it cleanses the physical body. In this way, we remove the impurities of our physical body, various toxins in all types of body. Treatment in pure goodness implies that the presence of one cow is enough to treat the whole body. In Vedic culture, it was believed that if there are cows in a village or city, that's enough. No other animals are needed. Cows are sufficient. Cows provided everything: treatment, health, food, and the ability to perform Vedic rituals. Everything we need for life was provided by the cow. There is a concept of cow protection. We need to protect cows because the cow gives happiness to people. By the way, there is a whole field that studies different types of milk fermentation. Depending on which bacteria or fungi cause fermentation, kefir has different qualities. It can thus treat many different diseases. There are various types of kefir. These bacteria can ferment in different ways, resulting in completely different products. Lots of different products can be made from milk. You would be very surprised at how many different flavors can be obtained from milk. From plain milk. So what causes asthma in children? Fear, reluctance to act under supervision, lack of humility, weakness, tension, and selfishness. That means that a child who has asthma is a child who has an inner assertiveness and at the same time a very strong sensitivity, and such a person usually finds it very difficult to accept others' opinions. And this lack of humility also occurs when interacting with climate and plants. Therefore, it is no coincidence that asthma worsens when the climate changes. When in contact with pollen from various plants, there is also an increase in the allergic component. This all comes from lack of humility. Most often, such asthma in children stems from these qualities, which they developed in previous lives. Therefore, we should not ask, why does the child suffer? Because the time has come to suffer. What causes atherosclerosis? Meat-eating, greed, cruelty, stupidity, resistance, refusal to see the good from activity in passion and assertiveness. Atherosclerosis, by the way, is a disease of our century, and almost all people after 35 years old who have eaten meat all their lives possess this incomparable virtue, the atherosclerosis. Doctors practically cannot diagnose this. Because atherosclerosis is inside the blood vessels, it's difficult to detect it there. If someone deals with this, they consider it normal, because many people already have an accumulation of these fatty deposits inside the vascular wall. What impact does it have? This causes a decrease in blood circulation in the brain, and many functions in the body are disrupted. Many diseases nowadays, about 80% of diseases from which people suffer after 35 years old, are a result of atherosclerosis. And they should also be treated through the treatment of atherosclerosis. Therefore, without eliminating meat and fish, it is impossible to treat a person. It is simply impossible to treat them at all, not to mention that the person simply will not receive mercy. That means that treatment implies receiving mercy. That means recovery does not come by itself. It only comes when a person follows certain principles. Therefore, it is believed that if a person has not given up eating eggs, meat, and fish, they are simply not capable of recovering. Modern doctors give medicine and say, just take this and everything will be fine. By doing so, they doom the person to unlikely having a good result, or it will be very temporary. So meat translates from ancient languages as similar to me. Me is me plus eat. That means we eat something similar to ourselves. What does it mean to eat meat? It means receiving depressive force, that is, bringing yourself closer to death. That means meat is something associated with death. When the soul leaves the body, the meat becomes imbued with the power of death. Everyone feels this power when burying relatives. Everyone feels the smell of death coming from your close one, and everyone becomes bitter. Therefore, this grief goes directly into our stomach, and a person can no longer mentally protect themselves from what enters the stomach. The greatest psychological weapon is what sits in our belly. Therefore, if a bad person prepares food, if you eat it, this is undoubtedly the best way to get befoulment from this person. The best way to get a man to marry you is to start cooking for him. He will undoubtedly fall under your influence and undoubtedly become your fiancé. This all happens in a completely incomprehensible way. You can use this knowledge to find a husband. Just don't be disappointed later and say that you listened to this doctor and now you'll be making amends all your life. That's your problem. You've lured them. Because a subtle effect occurs, which spreads from the stomach to the whole body of the person who eats. Therefore, you should only eat food from people you know, who are truly good. If a person eats food prepared by a priest, they purify their entire existence. Such food offered to God is called prasad, that means mercy. A person who eats such food achieves very sublime character qualities very quickly. Food that is prepared from killed animals is food in degradation, and it leads to life in degradation full of despair and injustice. And besides, such a person, above middle age, is struck by various diseases that they do not know how to treat. They become a scourge for them. But it's enough to simply stop eating meat, fish, eggs, and these diseases gradually begin to recede. And who has experienced this for themselves? Raise your hand. Many people. You see, half the hall already doesn't eat it. Therefore, please, this opportunity still exists for everyone else. When a person is greedy, the blood vessels personify activity. Activity with greed means grabbing for oneself. Such vessels get fatty inside. In this way, a person kills themselves. Cruelty also leads to atherosclerosis, because when a person possesses the quality of cruelty, their organs of activity, their vascular wall is destroyed by cruelty, and the vascular wall is filled with these fatty deposits, resulting in an atherosclerotic plaque. Atherosclerosis arises from stupidity, because a stupid person is very lazy, and they become covered in fat from head to toe. They only want to eat and sleep. They have no other desires. So we move on. What causes white acne? They are caused by laziness, greed, drowsiness, overeating. Sometimes they appear because a person leads a dissolute life. This disease is associated with the fact that a person has an excessively elevated hormonal background. That means hormones are associated with our pleasure. That means the level of female and male sex hormones depends on how much we want to enjoy ourselves. If we do not want to please other people, these hormones increase in the body. And they bring a lot of trouble to the body, including acne. Therefore, we need to learn to give happiness to everyone and not just desire it for ourselves. What causes infertility? The main cause of infertility is promiscuity, in a previous life or in this life, most often in the previous one. Coldness. If a person is cold, they cannot be a mother because being a mother means that she should love her child. Therefore, a cold person has reduced hormonal functions, and such a person can no longer conceive a child. Hard-hearted women are prone to infertility because the tubes that conduct the egg become spasmodic. Rudeness causes inflammatory processes in female organs, so it's impossible to conceive a child. Tension. When a person cannot work with love, their hormonal functions undoubtedly begin to decrease. Depression arises from tension. Cruelty is roughly the same as rudeness. However, a cruel person will never be able to have children, while a rough person can become kind and gentle. When someone is very superficial, they don't always have active hormonal functions. Their hormonal functions don't always work properly. A person needs some depth of inner perception. Otherwise, they won't be able to care for their child and might even forget the child somewhere. That's why nature ensures that women are more attentive, as attentiveness is linked to hormonal function. In general, all of a woman's qualities such as beauty, kindness, and tenderness are influenced or activated by hormonal function. But if a woman lacks hormonal organs, then other hormonal organs compensate and take over these functions. Dishonesty can also result in infertility, just as irresponsibility can lead to infertility. Insomnia most often stems from fear. A person can't sleep because of fear, and this is typically because they are too attached to various external objects with their feelings directed outward. They see happiness in grabbing, so their attention remains fixed on material objects. They feel like their salary is insufficient, or they are lacking something. They constantly think about such things, and their feelings are becoming connected to these thoughts. When they go to bed, they can't disconnect and let go because this external force that acts on them interferes, and they think, when will I finally calm down, leading to excessive suffering? However, when someone seeks happiness from within to give something to others, they undoubtedly sleep well because their feelings are directed inward. They contemplate and try to share their frequency. Such a person analyzes themselves, questioning, did I act correctly or not? Did I speak right or not? They contemplate where qualities like anger or lust originate and continue their self-study. They wonder, why did this arise in me now? Maybe I have such bad qualities within me. Such a person is quite self-critical, but they never destroy themselves with criticism. They always strive to understand themselves more deeply and try to stay in a good mood, because a bad mood brings suffering to those around them. So, if we lack good qualities, we should at least maintain a good mood to avoid causing others to suffer. Excessive tension also causes insomnia. Excessive tension arises in overly greedy people who think that if they work harder, there will be a better result. But the result never depends on us. It is shaped by our favorable fate. The more devout deeds we have in the past, the better the result will be. That is, we may work hard, but the result can still vary. And we are always surprised, then disappointed, asking, why did I work so hard and get nothing in return? This is because the outcome depends on our past fate, not on how hard we worked. It's enough for a person in a state of happiness to work only as much as to support their basic needs. All their free time should be dedicated to learning how to live, attending such lectures, studying everything around, and finding happiness through knowledge, because work alone does not give happiness. Passion, as we have already mentioned, is an attachment to various objects. Guilt also causes insomnia. But what causes guilt? Sometimes a person thinks, why do I feel so guilty? I'm not guilty at all. He is the one at fault, not me. And then they suffer, thinking, how can this be? Why? I'm such a good person I can't even fall asleep because I blame myself for what happened, but I'm absolutely not guilty. He is the one to blame. He doesn't actually think like that, of course, but I do. That's why I'm good, and he's bad. In other words, guilt does not necessarily mean self-awareness. When a person truly realizes their guilt, they fall asleep peacefully. At that point, they experience a kind of catharsis. They feel a desire to make things right. Optimism arises within them, and they want to resolve the situation for the better. He then falls asleep peacefully. Therefore, if you want to fall asleep peacefully, you need to admit your guilt and think about how to fix the situation. On a mental level, contact with the person involved will happen, and their subconscious will receive from you a scheme of how you want to fix the situation. Once that happens, their mind will detach from you, and you will fall asleep peacefully. Attachment to the result causes insomnia. A person wonders, what will happen in this sport lotto tomorrow? What will the result be? And stays awake all night. Or someone wants to get an A on the exam. They lie awake all night thinking whether they will get A or B, or will they fail. Their mind runs in circles all night with no rest. That is, it's just the work of the mind. There's no intelligence here. The person can't fall asleep because they're stuck on meaningless thoughts with no conclusion or solution. They're just cycling through options, thinking 2 or 3, 5 or 4, 6 or 8. They think all night, but there's no benefit to it, just nonsense. Will she marry me or not? Will it happen or not? Does she love me? Will she kiss me? They guess and stay awake all night. This is just the mind listing possibilities. That's it. No intelligence here at all. So there's no point in doing this. You just need to say to yourself, let the mind think what it wants, and I will sleep. Whatever God wants will happen. If God wants me to get married, I will. If He doesn't want, I won't. God will find the most beautiful, the best for me. So there's no need to worry. I just need to sleep, and that's it. Then there's no insomnia. Insomnia arises from greed and envy. A person might think, what a terrible person, yet for some reason everyone thinks he's good. This is how an envious person thinks, and it keeps them awake all night. A resentful person also suffers from insomnia when they take offense. What causes resentment? It happens when someone is very selfish, and when things don't go their way, they feel hurt. They think, I'm so good, I'm so nice, and he treated me like that. I'm so good, how could anyone treat me that way? And these thoughts continue all night. Resentment comes from selfishness. A person doesn't understand that if they think someone else is bad and they themselves are good, it means they are already in the wrong. Therefore, you can fall asleep peacefully now, with no problems. You just need to understand this, and that's all. This is vindictiveness. When you have a good memory, it's an asset. But when a person's character deteriorates, they lose this asset, or they misuse it for their own selfish purposes. They think, I'll remember this. And they spend all night remembering. What causes a person to get rabies? Is it because a tick bites them? No. The tick bite comes later. Fate leads to the tick, or a rabid dog, and so on. But in reality, it arises from anger, the belief that violence is the only solution, and from stupidity, that is, unwillingness to practice self-awareness. It also comes from cruelty and a taste for lawlessness. Rabies arises from greed. A person simply becomes rabid. Dogs also have these qualities because dogs too have character. Bursitis, inflammation of the joint capsule, lack of joy, and contempt lead to hypothermia. A person who is kind doesn't suffer from the cold. That's why Porfiry Ivanov slept in the snow. He was very kind. He constantly wished happiness to everyone. As a result, Ivanov's followers stand on the snow wishing happiness to all, and no one gets sick. It arises from overwork. A feeling of injustice. That implies that joints may become inflamed due to a sense of injustice. Cruelty, when someone acts cruelly, can cause their joints to suffer from despair. Varicose veins can stem from being overly pushy, which is quite common. It also comes from a lack of softness, dull, joyless work, laziness, stress, and depression. When a girl grows up very delicate and lazy, and it's time for her to give birth, the intense pressure can cause veins to protrude. This happens because the muscle walls are very weak. When someone does not want to be active or to work, varicose veins develop. To prevent varicose veins, one should always stay active, work, and be willing to work. This condition can cause blood clots in the vessels, which can cause instant death. So laziness leads to death through varicose veins. However, this doesn't mean that everyone who has enlarged veins is at immediate risk of death. In the end, a person dies only by the will of God, so there's no need to fear, as everything can be resolved. If it's not God's will, no one will die, everyone will remain alive, therefore we need to calm down. Venereal diseases are a result of debauchery, arrogance, promiscuity, slovenliness, and stupidity. These diseases are a reward for those who think they can enjoy themselves in this way. They get venereal diseases. Some diseases, such as AIDS and syphilis, carry the scent of death. That means that the disease smells of death. This is how it's diagnosed. Therefore, we must understand that diseases like AIDS and syphilis hold the power of death. Therefore, you should understand that such actions bring a person closer to death. Chickenpox develops due to fastidiousness, sloppiness, unbalanced diet, fear, and hypersensitivity. Viral infections are always triggered by passion, haste, improper diet, tension, sleep disturbances, rudeness, and fatigue. They occur along the body's meridians of action. That means that swelling forms along the central meridian, particularly in the nasopharynx and nose, and then viruses that float in the air settle on these swollen areas. During seasonal changes, like when summer changes to autumn or spring changes to summer, is a time of passion. Everything changes in the weather, and people acquire the qualities linked to passion. They start to fuss and become susceptible to viral diseases. This always comes from inner restlessness. To avoid viral diseases, one needs to stop fussing and being in a state of passion. What causes cysts in internal organs? Cysts are always caused by tension, pushiness, and greed. Tension, pushiness, and greed prompt the development of cysts. Different types of cysts develop in terms of density. Cysts can be caused by tension, greed, pushiness, and insolence. How to restore tooth enamel? By using stone fruits. You can crush them and eat them, or brew and drink them. It's best to brew and drink because, for example, you're unlikely to crush a date stone easily. You'd need some kind of sledgehammer and the pit would go flying everywhere. It's quite difficult to do. Therefore, it's best not to crush them, otherwise all your neighbors will run away. Brewing is easy and some substances will remain in the brew, which you will drink. Hazelnut shells are also very effective for enamel restoration. Date pits increase longevity, boosting energy upwards. In Tibetan medicine, they are used as a product that improves longevity, memory, and general well-being. When is the best time to drink milk? Not earlier than 6 and not later than bedtime. That means when you feel like it in the evening, drink it before bed. However, it's better to drink only a little milk right before sleep. Otherwise, it may not be digested properly. If you drink milk early in the morning, how is it digested? In the same way, because the digestive fire increases gradually. Since you also eat dairy products in the morning, everything mixes and digests normally later. When the sun rises, your digestion begins to function fully. What does overly spicy food mean? At first, food is spicy when you're not used to it, but later it doesn't seem spicy anymore. This means that a person enters a state of passion when they start eating spicy food. Initially, it feels spicy. How to determine if food is spicy or not? If it burns, scorches your mouth, then it's spicy. Spices that suit us and give us the right kind of heat never feel overly spicy. They are always pleasant for us. They give a pleasant warmth and enhance the flavor of the food. Even if these spices are very spicy, if they suit us, they are pleasant to us. Therefore, there won't be a particularly spicy taste. The spiciness of spices changes greatly depending on where you are. It depends on the amount of sunlight. If you go to certain places, you can eat peppers by the pod, and they won't seem so spicy. But try eating that here. Therefore, we must understand that the recipes of Ayurvedic dishes change depending on the amount of sunlight. In areas with little sun, you need to use fewer spices. Or, for example, in winter, when it's very cold, certain spices like fenugreek and asafoetida warm the body, so you should use more of them. They will provide internal warmth. Therefore, if you are used to excessively spicy food and you have felt the qualities of passion, then you need to give up such nutrition. You need to eat food that gives you happiness. Is unpasteurized milk better or not? Probably, yes, because it's fresher. Can you mix milk from several cows and is it harder to digest? Yes, you can mix it, but it becomes harder to digest. If someone can separate already mixed milk, you can do that. It will be easier to digest then, or you could get your own cow. 2 options. Tell us something about sour milk. I can say that it's not a bad thing, but it's better to ferment it with a culture. When you have a culture, that is, you already have something like that in the refrigerator, you need to constantly take it from something fresh. That means you can't keep using the same culture. That means you ferment, get kefir the next day, and then pour off a new culture from it. This is how you should cultivate. Sour milk is produced when fermentation occurs from several types of lactic acid bacteria at once. Most often this does not lead to a good result, but in principle you can still drink it, which is worse, tea or cocoa. It's better to drink a lot of tea than a little cocoa, but it's best not to drink either at all. There's also a saying, it's better to overeat than to undersleep. Therefore, it's better not to drink either tea or cocoa. To which qualities do St. John's wort and oregano belong? They belong to the guna of degradation, meaning qualities of degradation. Therefore, they treat many malignant tumors, like St. John's wort, for example. It's better not to drink oregano at all. It doesn't promote health, but St. John's wort brings benefits for those with inflammatory processes in the body. It also kills the beast, hence the name in Russian, kills the beast, St. John's wort in English. It kills all microbes. St. John's wort even kills various fungal spores. It has a rather strong effect on the body, but it's a poisonous plant. You can't drink a lot of it. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.